You know, sometimes when I'm in the mood, I like to homage myself. Hey there, today I have an unboxing video, and in this video I'm going to open up an order of comic books that I placed from Mile High Comics. Now when I'm looking for older back issues, I do frequent Mile High Comics, but if I am buying brand new issues, if I'm doing any sort of new comic book day ordering or pre-ordering, I order from Dark Dominion Comics at darkdominioncomics.com. There's no coupon, there's no discount code necessary. You can just straight order from them and get great books when they come out on new comic book day, or like I said, if you order before final order cutoff, they can take care of you there. And one thing I noticed about Mile High Comics is their coupon code has gone back to 50% off. When I ordered from them back in mid-September, which is this order that I'm about to open, the discount was 60% off. Now, I've been buying from Mile High Comics for a long time, and I definitely see the pattern with their coupon codes. And my advice is, if the coupon code is not 60%, which is the most I've ever seen as far as a discount goes from Mile High, you just wait it out. There's really no reason to order when it's 50%. I don't know if I've ever seen a 40% off code, but wait till the 60% returns. And actually, you're going to help all of us out if you wait, because I think that if the number of orders starts to lessen, then I think that if they get fewer and fewer orders in, sometimes they change their mind and they come up with a new coupon code and then push it right back to 60%. And that's typically when I buy, is when that coupon comes back. So what I'll do is I'll track books, and I'll kind of keep a list of books that are on Mile High Comics that I'm targeting, that I'm interested in buying. And because the prices are so high, it's very likely that the books will still be there when that coupon code comes back around and hits at 60%. Now, in this particular order, I feel like I finally stepped up and invested in some books by a particular well-known cover artist that is a favorite of many, and that's Dave Stevens. And I've been aware of Dave Stevens covers for a long time, but have never really taken the plunge and bought some of his books. And honestly, what kind of reminded me of it was the overwhelming push for homage covers. Now, I'm a fan of homage covers if they're done right, and I appreciate it. And a lot of times those homage covers are store exclusives. They can be a bit overdone, where the market gets a little saturated if you're thinking of like Amazing Spider-Man 300 and all the different homage covers. And it's almost like every week those covers are homaged in some way. But one of the other big turnoffs is when homage covers are pushed on people. And by that I mean just overhyped, overshared, like it's just the greatest thing ever. And more often than not, when I get told, like, this is the funniest movie you've ever seen, this is the greatest comic book you've ever read, this is the greatest cover, this is the greatest artist, that's my opportunity to shift and start to look at something else. And the most obvious thing to do when homage covers are like discussed and pushed and overshared, and the top 10 best homage covers ever and things like that, is look at the original. So what I did is I looked at some of the Dave Stevens art homage covers and decided to kind of make a little bit of a list, like just sort of my own like personal top 10 want list, or my favorite Dave Stevens covers, and also not just favorite, because you have to deal with the supply. And what I noticed is that Mile High had a number of these Dave Stevens covers, and so what I tried to do is balance the availability of these books, the cost, the value. And then, as always, when I'm buying from Mile High Comics, it's not so much around value of the book raw, but more around the potential. So I know that I'm going to be paying a premium to get the book in high grade. And then through my analysis, I'm able to see, is there a gap between the raw value of the book And if the book were graded in a 9.4, 9.6, 9.8, it's basically this ongoing thesis I have around getting the most value out of a raw book. Mile High typically gives you an opportunity to get a little bit of a grade bump if you are so inclined to clean and press their books as well. So there's always that aspect of buying a book that maybe comes in around the 8.5 to 9.2 range, and then with a nice press, it gets pushed into the 9.94 with a chance of being a 9.8. So I want to get to these books and take a look. I'm super anxious. I've never owned these Dave Stevens comics before. However, I can't help myself. And of course, while I was shopping, I found a few other books that were not Homage covers that I just wanted to add because it just ended up being a good value pick at the time. So I want to open this, show you the books that I bought from Mile High. And then if you stay to the end, I'll show you what I paid for the books. And I can show you a comparison between the total cost and the current fair market value and the values of these books if I were to get them graded. All right, here is the order from Mile High Comics that I always pick FedEx when I order from Mile High. Never had an issue with FedEx. There's no extra charge once you unlock free shipping with Mile High Comics, which I highly recommend. There's no tax, no shipping. Something else to think about, especially after that last order with Hakes Auctions, where I just got absolutely destroyed with taxes and shipping and the buyer's premium. Even though it's Mile High prices, it's actually very, very refreshing to not have to pay anything extra. There's a little bit of insurance, maybe $5 or $6 that covers the whole shipment, but you want to get that anyway. So let me get this opened up. All right, nice and easy. Love it. A little bit of tape on the makeshift cardboard wrapping, but for the most part, pretty easy and straightforward to get into. All right, let's see what we got here. So all that hype over Dave Stevens in the first book is not a Stevens cover. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 287. This is from 1987. This is a great Spider-Man Black Costume Daredevil cover by Kyle Baker. And it's written by Christopher Priest with pencils by Eric Larson. So everybody's all up about Todd McFarlane and first pencils and Spider-Man pencils and cover art and everything. One of the early Eric Larson interiors here from a 1987 copy. Gang War Part 4, one of the very first storylines that I got into as a kid. When you're a young kid, why not read about something called Gang War? I mean, it just makes sense. Really, really great. I would love to see these characters get together in the MCU somehow. You've got Daredevil. You're going to have the symbiote costume Spider-Man, Kingpin, like the Gang War. Like, it's probably not going to be a storyline that we ever see, which is actually quite unfortunate. But I love when all of these characters are interacting. And I can tell that this one is in need of a press. Just in terms of the condition here, it has a bit of a stacking crease up and down here. I can see a couple of spine ticks in here. It would probably grade out around the 9.2 or 9.4, possibly. Maybe it max out 9.6. I'm not sure. Could be a solid 9.4 even after the press, but took a chance here. Good value, great cover. Okay, so as far as some of the Dave Stevens books go, I took it upon myself to track down other Dave Stevens covers that have either been appreciated and homaged in some way, or maybe they just exist and they're not as famous as other covers. And I wanted to do my own research. I didn't want some speculator or hype artist telling me about which books to buy and which homage covers are the best ever and so forth. I wanted to do my own research. This is Vanguard Illustrated number 2 from Pacific Comics. Now there's, I think, a couple of these from Pacific Comics in this order, and then one from Dark Horse that Dave Stevens did. This is from 1984, and again, to find these in near mint condition, it's just, I feel like it's super rare. Now this one, if you can see, I saw the corner down here, and there's just a nasty bit of corner crunching, typical, like where you think it just got dropped right on the corner. So a little unfortunate there. I mean, it's not too bad but I don't know if a press would even help that the more that I look at it. But the rest of the book looks really clean. Colors look great. They don't look faded. You just see this and like, okay, this would make a great like sci-fi poster. Like if you've got like a media room or a theater room or something like that, you could hang this on the wall. And I am looking to get these graded. So I'm hoping that at least it grades out in a 9496. I don't know if that corner is going to be allowed in a 98, but I took a chance and got it. I think it's just a fantastic, great like action cover. And Dave Stevens, kind of just known for the good girl art, just killed it on this one, I think. So it has so much going for it. The age, obviously Stevens, the cover artist, but also some other collectability with the yellowish cover. There are collectors that specialize in that as well. So just really great character art here, right on the cover. Love this one. The next one is Alien Worlds #4. Now, this one I loved so much that I created an Instagram post about this one, about a cover art spotlight. And I just thought this was brilliant. This is Alien Worlds #4 from Pacific Comics, released in 1983. And again, this is just what you would see in any sort of sci-fi nostalgia shop, as a poster hanging on the wall. It just so much detail in this one, and just so typical of Stevens' art. Now, looking at this, I don't want to... I feel like as soon as I say this could be a 9.8 candidate, I know I'm looking at it in the bag, but I'm also starting to sweat and don't feel like taking it out and ruining it here. But I feel like as soon as I say, oh, this is my 9.8 candidate, I end up seeing a scratch or a crease. But just from that first glance, that first assessment, it's definitely in the realm of possibility that this could be a 9.8 candidate. I would love, love, love to have this book in a 9.8. And I'll show you here in a minute what the values of these books are when they're graded. I believe that it gets a nice bump once you get over the 9.4. So tremendous, tremendous book. Really happy with that one. Can't wait to grade it. The next one, this is a book that I've purchased in the past. This is Marvel Age 71. Great cover by Mobius. The copy I got from Mile High Comics last time didn't automatically grade out as a 9.8, and I wanted to try again and get another copy. This one is slightly miswrapped. Yeah, it's tough. It has a little bit of a stacking crease, so could be worth a press once again. But gosh, just I love this one too. This whole order was, I think, just straight cover buys. But the Mobius covers are so rare on a Marvel comic, and I wanted to take a chance and see if I could get another one and see if it was a 9.8. But love this book all day. I feel like it's at Mile High at a great price for what it is, a little bit under the radar. I know Marvel Age is kind of a previews book, so you're pretty much just buying it for the cover. But if you're really looking at these sort of classic artists, like the pre-90s and the pre-image artists, who were those, who were like the artists, and it's Dave Stevens, it's Mobius, and so forth. The next book is a modern book. This is Spider-Man #12, and this is the Miles Morales Spider-Man, but he's not actually in the title. The next Miles' next series, he gets the title Miles Morales Spider-Man, and I think they're rebooting that because that's what Marvel does, and I can't stand it when they reboot. But Miles Morales Spider-Man is going to be restarted at first issue. But anyway, so this is now a couple of series ago. But this is a very famous cover now by Sarah Pichelli, and this book's written by Brian Michael Bendis, and there it is upside down. But it's just a matter of time before these two characters, either in the Spider-Verse animated series or with both of them in live action one day down the road, that they are going to be an item. And this book is very collectible for many reasons. Obviously, the cover art, the pose, the characters, but also I think just the coloring. It's just a fantastically designed cover. I think all of the colors just blend nicely together, and this one has a huge premium in a 9.8. Now, just looking at it again, a little bit of a corner issue, so that's going to be tough. It could top out at a 9.6. More stacking crease issues, a little bit of it's a non-color breaking crease, but it's right there. I can already see in the bag. So probably, if I were to just grade it raw, probably sitting there at a 9.2, 9.4. But nonetheless, I love to grab this book when I can in high grade. And then the last one is, I'd never heard of this title, Cheval Noir. This is issue 7 from Dark Horse Comics, and this is from 1990. And this is a square bound as well. And from first glance at it, another 9.8 candidate, possibly. Just looking at the book and looking at the corners there, like, that's tough to get a square bound book with. I mean, typically, I just realized my fingers are dirty, but typically, those right there on that corner, there's usually chipping or some sort of splitting that happens right on those corners. And this book does not seem to have that. Wow. Tremendous. Again, nostalgia. It is for mature readers. But of course, if I am going to get it slabbed, then even immature readers would then be able to appreciate it. But this looks fantastic, so I can't wait to open this one up and take a look at the back cover and just make sure everything looks good. There's something right there that I hope is on the bag. So great colors, great cover design on this one by Dave Stevens, just tremendous. So I'm super happy with this one. I think that the Alien Worlds number 4, that one also has a shot at being at least a 9.6, if not a 9.8. The Vanguard Illustrated, I'm not sure about that one. That one might be a little off from a 9.8, but just a great collection of back issues. So what I'd like to do now is show you what I paid for them and kind of play around with those grades and show you the potential value gain if I were to get these books graded. All right, here is that order from Mile High Comics that I placed on September 17th, 2022. It was a total of $193.20. As I mentioned before, no shipping, no tax, just a little bit of insurance. And then what I end up doing is I take the $6 insurance and I distribute that across my total cost. And if the sum of the total cost matches the invoice, then I know my math is correct. Now, from a fair market value perspective, if I'm comparing the values provided by cover price in column U with the total cost in column Z, you can see in column AA, the raw value add, it was a loss of $39.20. And what that means is if I were to take these books and try and sell them raw as is, I would lose money based on what I paid for them. But I'm not interested in flipping raw books from Mile High Comics, and I think that's why a lot of like speculators and folks that are just doing live claim sales and want to make money off of you, they don't buy from Mile High because this isn't in their best interest. They want to get books on the cheap. They want to show you the book quickly. They want to not tell you the real grade, and they want to make money off of you buying mid to low grade copies of comics that honestly you can find anywhere. But to stay focused on this order, the reason that I buy this is the potential if I were to get them graded. So what I try to do is I try not to overpay by too much. And you can see the Cheval Noir number 7 was the one that I really overpaid. So that one, I remember when I made the purchase, I was like, I know I'm paying too much for this. But the way this book is, and I didn't realize it was square bound. I just felt like it was that all light blue cover. It was an older book. It's from 1990. It's Dark Horse. I don't want to say it's hard to find because it's really kind of supply and demand, but it's definitely not as common as your other 90s Marvel and DC comics if I'm comparing the print runs. And I knew that this was my opportunity or my chance to get it. So I ended up paying more for it. And it did have a nice raw fair market value of $46, but I paid $72.20 for it, so it was a loss of $26.20. Now, to make up for that, what I tried to do was purchase a book like Spider-Man number 12 here, where it only cost me $41 only, but it has a raw fair market value of $48, so I gained $7 on that book. Marvel Age 71 was pretty much a wash. Alien Worlds, I'll take a loss of $8. I couldn't believe I got that book for $29. I really thought that these Dave Stevens cover books have been appreciated for a long time. You know, even back when these books were released, they had appreciation around it. So the fact that I'm getting a book from 1983 that has some really nice collectability based on the cover art, the cover artist, to get it for $29 in high grade, I thought that that was a pretty good deal. Still overpaid by about $8, as it has a fair market value of $21. I do want to pause here real quick and talk about fair market value. I am redoing how I'm analyzing cover price data because I have realized now that I have always captured fair market value, which is the value that they kind of, if you're looking at cover price, it's the value right under the thumbnail. But if you click into the details of the book, the fair market value of the raw books are now broken out by grade. And a lot of these books will default to very fine or fine. So an Alien Worlds #4 in near mint may actually have a fair market value above 21, but cover price is looking at more of like the most commonly sold grade. And I was kind of putting up with it for a while, and then I realized this isn't going to work. So I'm redoing some of the data behind the scenes in my spreadsheets to address that and start to look for opportunities to maybe represent an actual fair market value based on the grade, since that's what cover price is starting to provide. And I don't set these values myself. It's all, I use online tools such as cover price, GPA. I'm also looking to get back into Go Collect a little bit just to get more data, more information to represent a better average across the aggregate of all of this information that we have online. So just kind of bear with me as I get through that process. And one of the reasons I'm redoing this as well is I've been asked about sharing these spreadsheets out. And I'm hoping that by redoing the process, I would be in a better position to start sharing out some of the templates that I've created. So hopefully with a little bit of patience and me taking a little time out to readjust these values and kind of redo this process in sort of like a 2.0 fashion, hopefully it'll pay off and benefit for all of us. Now, let me finish this and wrap it up here. I'm getting off on a tangent. I want to look at the values now if I were to get these books graded. Now, just eyeballing some of them, again, we're all in the ballpark of that 9.2, 9.4. So I have to say near mint is 9.4 because that's when I've been trained and scolded to expect and understand. So if these books were to all grade out in a 9.4, surprisingly, the CGC value of them in a 9.4 here in column V, it's not that much greater. So much so that if you look at the CGC value, if I were to just send them all in and they got 9.4s, I would stand to lose $11.31. So this specific order is not going to pay off for me unless I can get some of these in a 9.6 or 9.8. Now, that's always the fun part is, I mean, you can't assume they're all going to come back 9.8, but it's certainly fun to look at all of these values. So if you take a look at column V, if I were to flip all of these to 9.8, then we'll see what kind of values they have. So the Alien Worlds #4 jumps to 165, and you can see the other book values come in right after that with a lot of tremendous upside here. So a total potential value of $1,018.69 on a 6-book comic book order from Mile High Comics. Again, I feel like I always have to say it. I don't believe that all of these are going to be a 9.8, but this is the potential. This is the possibility if I were to really look at these books, consider investing in some cleaning and pressing on them, they could potentially be a 9.8. I know just by my purchase history, my data, looking at these books, we're not looking at 6s and 7s here, and I bought them as near mint. They're going to be in that 8.5 to 9.4 space automatically with that chance to be bumped to 9.8. Or in the case of Cheval Noir, I think that might be a 9.8 as is, and you can see it's a $300 9.8. That was another reason I splurged on the book, was because there was a chance that this could be an extremely valuable book if I were to get it graded. Same thing with the Marvel Age 71, $277 in a 9.8 for a Marvel Age book. That seems insane, but nevertheless, a minor investment of $12.60, relatively minor when you compare it to the upside of $277. Okay, this one I need some help with because this is Amazing Spider-Man 287. It has a CGC value of $312, and I did a quick lookup, and there was a last sale of this book at $294. So even though it's come down, maybe 5%, that's unreal. I can't. I mean, that's crazy, and this is where my analysis paid off because I really wouldn't target Amazing Spider-Man 287 if I just saw it at a flea market, where all of the other grails are. And it cost $16.20 to acquire it for a potential value add of $263.12. Compare that to the Sarah Pichelli Spider-Man 12, where I spent $41 and in a 9.8. I did say it has value, not as much as I thought at $190. I thought it was at least a $200 9.8, but why not go back to Mile High and buy 5 more ASM 287s and forget Spider-Man number 12? I try and add variety and try not to over invest or over speculate on one specific book. So I do like to diversify here as much as possible. Vanguard Illustrated number 2 in a 9.8 is $165. That with Alien Worlds, again, I don't know if those are specifically the Dave Stevens covers to own. The one that was recently Homage is the Planet Comics number 1. I was not able to track that one down. But like I always say, there's plenty of comic books. There's plenty of Dave Stevens comic books as well, if you're interested in collecting his books. So I was super excited to order these books, even more so to open the order and look at the books. I'm kind of looking at them off to the side, and I'm very, very happy that I was able to acquire them, and also happy with the potential that those books have if I were to get them graded. I was aware of the numbers going in, but now seeing all 6 books together and looking at that ceiling, the max value return, if I were to get these books in a 9.8. And I mean, I love doing this so much more than trying to keep up with modern speculation and modern flippers and modern pushers. I can just very quietly sit in my comic book cave, go on Mile High Comics, target 6 comic books. And it is a bit of a gamble. Of course, there's always some risk when you're buying books sight unseen. But I have so much data that I use to help predict the grades that these books will come in. And there's always a chance that the books will just come in straight 9.8 with no pressing. And Mile High, the chance is somewhere around 20 to 22%. So the chances that one of these books will be a 9.8, it's legit. And the CGC value of that one book in a 9.8 could potentially cover the entire cost of this order. And then I've got the other books for free. So that's really kind of the strategy and how I approach this. And I think what I'm most proud of is that I've got 6 great new comic books to add to my collection that nobody told me to go out and buy. Thanks for watching, happy collecting, and see you next time.